2020 appears to be a great year for electric vehicle manufacturers, or anything EV related really. A few days ago, General Motor (GM) announced a new strategic partnership with electric truck startup Nikola. The news of this strategic partnership caused both stocks to surge dramatically. GM stock rose by around 7%, seeing a peak of 33.33, whereas Nikola rose by a massive 41%, closing at 50.05. The news of this strategic partnership comes a week after GM recently announced that it has entered a strategic alliance with Honda in order to share its Ultium batteries with the Japanese automaker. Given the massive costs associated with developing and producing electric and semi or even fully autonomous vehicles, it appears that such partnerships are going to be more frequently seen in the EV industry going forward. This also signals an imminent market shift towards electric vehicle moving forward. According to the 2020 Global EV Outlook by International Energy Agency, the global electric vehicle fleet expanded significantly over the last decade, which has been underpinned by supportive policies and technology advances. In fact, sales of electric cars topped 2.1 million globally in 2019, which surpassed the 2018 record year. Electric vehicles, which accounted for 2.6% of global car sales and about 1% of global car stock in 2019, registered a 40% year-over-year increase. The rapid expansion of electric vehicle could be attributed to the technological progress in the electrification of two or three-wheelers, buses, and trucks, which is where Nikola shines. After entering commercial markets in the first half of the decade, electric car sales have soared. While there were only about 17,000 electric cars on roads globally back in 2010, by 2019 that number had swelled to a whopping 7.2 million cars. 47% of that is in China. 9 countries had more than 100,000 electric cars on the road, and at least 20 countries reached market share of more than 1%. What would be the impact of COVID-19 pandemic? While the effect on the global electric vehicle market is something important to be considered, it seems to be of a lesser extent when it comes to electric vehicle in comparison to the overall passenger car market. Based on the report by International Energy Agency, the number of car sales data during January to April 2020 indicates that the current estimate for the passenger car market will be shrinking by about 15% over the year relative to 2019. However, when it comes to the sales of electric passenger and commercial light-duty vehicles, it is expected that it will remain broadly at the same level of 2019. Having said that, second waves of pandemic and a slower than expected economic recovery could also lead to different outcomes. There are a number of supportive policies in China and Europe which encourage greater demand from consumer. This includes subsidy schemes which are available in a number of countries. For example, there is a subsidy scheme in China which has recently been extended up to 2022 for electric vehicle. China and Europe also recently strengthened and extended their new energy vehicle mandate as well as the CO2 emissions standards respectively. When it comes to electric trucks, which is where Nikola shines, the global sales of electric trucks in fact hit a record in 2019 with over 6,000 units. This has also been followed with the expansion of the number of models available in the marketplace. This growth has also been expedited with the development and standardization of the high power chargers globally. In terms of the long-term prospect, if you think of the great push for reducing the overall CO2 emissions, you could consider that electric vehicles are in fact a key technology which can enable that. EVs help to reduce air pollution in densely populated areas and are in fact a very key and promising option to contribute to the energy diversification and greenhouse gas emission reduction objectives. And Nikola could play a massive role in helping realize these objectives. Did you know that in 2018, according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the medium and heavy duty trucks accounted for almost 23% of the greenhouse gas emissions for the US transportation sector? This is in fact more than 2.5 times greater than the emissions by the aircrafts, which accounted for 9% of the total emissions. Future appears to be very bright for EV manufacturers, with 17 countries up to date announcing a 100% zero-emission vehicle target or the phase-out of the internal combustion engine vehicles through 2050. France in December 2019, for example, was the first country to put this intention into law with a 2040 timeframe. In addition to that, the vast majority of car markets offer some sort of subsidy or tax reduction for the purchase of an electric vehicle, be it for individual or company use purposes. According to the International Energy Agency report, it is expected that by the end of the next decade, which is the year 2030, the number of electric trucks would increase to a massive 400,000 trucks, and this number could be as high as 500,000 electric trucks. And once again, this is an area that companies such as Nikola would shine and would be able to obtain the greater share of the market, given their first mover advantage. I currently don't own any shares in Nikola, but plan to start gradually building a position in this stock. Looking at the long term prospects of the EV industry as a whole and what Nikola has to offer, I'm overall bullish about this stock, and I think in the long term, within the next 5 to 10 years, it has a lot of room to grow. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it beneficial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to share this video with someone who might benefit from it.